nothing but his underwear, walks up to me. It has been 2 years since I have been single. I have been single for over 2 years straight now. That's an accomplishment. Have I done some self-reflection? Yes. Have I done some inner work? Yes. Do I feel great alone? Yes, I do, but I still feel lonely sometimes, and I think that I am entitled to look for a boyfriend if I want to. People in my comments are like, oh, just love yourself, love yourself. I do love myself, and I could love myself while having a boyfriend. Honestly, the only boyfriend that has not let me down yet. Now, having been single for 2 years, you have a lot of ups and downs, and I thought that I would share a few stories with you guys, like I said I would in my last dating video. But before we jump into the story, I thought it was a great opportunity to share with you guys some of the most thoughtful, romantic, and creative messages that I have gotten through my dating apps. Can you step on me with your outside shoes, please? I want you to tie me up and tickle me. Hey, are you from His Man too? Yes. I bet you that I can satisfy you in a way that YH could never. Oh, so you have a dog. Wow, I've never been with a big dog before. Can I see pics? By the way, I have a fetish. Block. And this one isn't as creepy, but I've gotten this so many times. You guys need to stop using this on me because it really doesn't work. Do you want to adopt another dog? Wink, wink. What? You know what I should have said? Yes, I am open to adopting a new dog, but only if they're neutered. But if I'm being fair, if they're really good looking, maybe the answer might have changed, because, you know, I do have like an extra leash. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get to the juicy story. Okay, so let me set the scene. It is winter, it is cold outside. It had only been a few months since I had broken up. Winter in general in Korea is a very lonely time if you're single. So I was just scrolling through the apps and this one guy messaged me. He was like, hey, I'm at the airport right now, but my flight is delayed. I have to spend the night, but I don't have anywhere to go. I feel sweaty and icky. Do you mind if I go to your house and spend the night there? So obviously, stranger danger, but he was really hot. Like, he had an 8-pack. His body was unreal. One of the most beautiful men that I have ever seen in my whole entire life. The first thing that you're probably gonna think of if you see something too good to be true on a dating app is catfish. And I did think of that. So I went into my group chat where 2 of my closest friends are, and I told them about the whole entire situation. And I was like, oh my gosh, should I do it? Should I do it? And they're like, absolutely not. Please do not do this. This just seems like reckless behavior. Please don't do it. You are literally gonna get... They're like, he's a catfish, he's probably an old man, you don't know what's gonna happen when he gets into your car and goes home with you. And I was like, okay, I hear you. And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, okay guys, I think I'm gonna do it. The airport is basically like 15-20 minutes away from my house, so it's pretty close. I drove all the way there, I picked him up, and he was exactly like the pictures. I am not joking. He was drop dead gorgeous. My heart was literally beating out of my chest. I take this guy home. The first thing he asks is, can I take a shower? It's just been very stuffy in the airport. I came from another flight. I'm sweaty. I'm hot. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Gave him towels and everything. He was there for like 15 minutes taking a shower. And he basically just walks out wearing nothing but his underwear, walks up to me and is like, hey, my clothes feel a little bit gross right now. Do you mind if I lounge in your house in my underwear? And I started panicking. I didn't know what to do. So was like, just a minute, and I ran into my closet room and I grabbed the biggest sweatshirt and sweatpants that I could find and I bolted out and I threw it at him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have extra clothes here. He seemed a little taken aback and he was like, oh, okay, are you sure? And I was like, oh yeah, it's no problem. So he ended up wearing my clothes, and yeah, we basically just kind of hung out. He was great with Kano. He was just giving him all the pets and all the love. I remember we were watching a bunch of music videos and YouTube clips on my big projector that I have. It was just kind of a vibe. We had some conversations, but we didn't talk too much. So after we hung out for a while, I remember he just got up and jumped on my bed and was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I'm so tired. And I was just on the sofa being like, you can sleep if you want. And he was like, oh yeah, do you mind? And I was like, no, you're probably exhausted. Please sleep. And by this time, it's like 3 a.m. I'm tired too. I want to sleep too, but I would never dare go on that same bed with him. So basically, I just sat on the couch and I waited a few hours until it was about time for him to catch his flight again. So I woke him up and he's like, oh my gosh, what time is it? And I was like, oh yeah, it's like 5 a.m. You should probably get going. And then he was like, oh yeah. Let me just change my clothes again. So he changes his clothes and I basically just take him back to the airport. It started snowing at this point. It was literally like almost a blizzard. As I was dropping him off, he was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're literally God sent. You're an angel. And I was like, oh yeah, it's no problem. But by the way, like, you probably shouldn't be sleeping in strangers' houses. It's like pretty dangerous. And then I remember he told me, oh no, I knew you were a good one. And I'm like, what do you mean I was a good one? He's like, yeah, I just remember seeing your face and I just knew that you were a great person and that, yeah. It made me feel a little weird. It made me feel a little taken advantage of. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, but the thing is, after this whole entire night ended, I updated my friends on what had happened. And they were like, okay, so did you sleep with him? And I was like, no, absolutely not. Why would I sleep with him? Like, for one, it just feels wrong because I'm housing him and initiating anything makes it feel like I'm taking advantage of him, which is very, just scumbag behavior. But also, two, like, he was like a 10, he was like 100. Why would he want to sleep with me? And they were like, well, he was giving you all of the signs. And I was like, what signs? And they're like, who in their right mind would lounge in their underwear at your house in the middle of winter? And I started thinking about it. And they were like, he also laid on your bed, probably expecting you to lay down with him. And I was like, no way, absolutely not. And we just had this whole bicker. I still don't think that he was signaling anything. I just think it was a very pure and beautiful meeting. You have this fantasy in your head, and sometimes it's just better to keep it as a fantasy. And seeing that it was never tainted and we never met each other again, yeah, I wanted to leave it for what it was. And not what it could have been. Not that it could have been anything. But one thing I still do remember to this day, we had New Jeans Ditto on repeat. We were watching the music video, talking about how handsome Chaeyeonuk is, and now every time I hear that song, stay in the middle, like you a little, don't want no riddle, 말해줘, say that. Every time I hear that song, I just think of our beautiful night together where nothing happened. Yeah, but I hope he's doing well.